What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for December 14th, 2024. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Saturday edition of the podcast. It is officially the last day of our gift and food drive, but it's not too late to still donate. The information for the GoFundMe is in the description. Like I said, I'm floored by how much we've been able to collect for this year. I'll be making a trip over likely Tuesday or Wednesday to the Matty Ann Dixon Community Cover to drop things off. But thank you. There's still time to donate. Like I said, the GoFundMe is in the description. You can still send me stuff. I'm not going over till next week. So if you want to Amazon, send it to my house, that's fine too. If you are going to go directly to Matty Ann Dixon, that is also fine. Just be sure to let them know it's part of our fundraiser. But just floored, just absolutely floored. Thank you. And if you are participating in the reverse advent calendar, the item of the day are taco kits. So taco kits, whether they be soft shell, hard shell, whatever, taco kits are the item of the day. But again, last day for our gift and food drive. Far more successful this year than we were last year. Want to continue and make this an annual tradition to help our friends and neighbors. All right, 25 days of kindness. Speaking of those neighbors, do something nice for your neighbor. At this point, most of the leaves are already fallen. But if your neighbor still has some leaves, help them rake. Ask to walk their dog. Grab something for them when you're going to the store. Anything to be nice to your neighbor. Just a little something like that goes a long way. So that is today's 25 days of kindness. All right. And I always try to make sure, I tell you this all the time, that everything is accurate. And I incorrectly, yesterday when we were talking about Willie Burton scoring 53 points, 24 of them coming from the free throw line, he actually indeed did set the Sixers record. He didn't tie it. So he set the record with 24, which was later tied by Allen Iverson in 2005. Joe at one point had 23, I believe, a couple seasons ago. So Willie Burton actually set the record, which he now still is tied for with AI. So I wanted to make sure that I got that accurate. All right, let's start with a recap of yesterday's question of the day in honor of the Mike Schmidt documentary on the Major League Baseball Network. I asked you, who is the best player in Philadelphia sports history to play their entire career in Philly? Not surprisingly, 71% of you said it was, in fact, Michael Jack Schmidt. Will not get an argument from me there. The rest of the votes were split pretty evenly between Bobby Clark and Chuck Bednarik, but 71% agree that Mike Schmidt is hands down the greatest athlete to play their entire career in Philly, and no argument there. 100%. In my opinion, he's the greatest third baseman to ever play the game. I did get a chance to watch that last night, so I highly, highly recommend, if you're even a casual Phillies fan and know anything, it was a very well done documentary. Basically, the way it was set up, it was Schmidt kind of narrating the thing with going through his time in Philadelphia. And then they had stuff from the other players. Larry Bowa was there. I guess he was very close with Doug Collins. There was a lot of Doug Collins interviews on there. Charles Barkley, Dr. J. Very, very well done. And I think my biggest takeaway from it, I don't want to give, obviously the story is the story, but I don't want to give too much of it away. But my biggest takeaway was that it just, at one point, my wife even said, she's like, man, this is portraying Philly fans as rough. I truly think it was a love-hate relationship with Mike Schmidt, especially for when the time he came up. They were a team that had never won a championship in almost 100 years of being in existence. So they saw the potential in him, and when he was in slumps, we do it now. It's funny that like our parents and our grandparents were the same way we were back in the 70s and into the 80s. But it certainly was a love-hate relationship. And to hear him speak and just know how much he truly cared and wanted to do well, I think that was the piece that I think was missing all this time from the story. So many people say, "Oh, he didn't care." I remember hearing my dad, "Oh, he's not a clutch player." And going back to those playoff failures in the late '70s, when the lights are the brightest, he chokes. And it really took till Pete Rose got there to sort of take some of that pressure, because ultimately Mike wanted to be that guy in Philly. He wanted to be the hero. He wanted to be the clutch guy. And I think a lot of times, and I wonder now, kind of hearing it from his perspective, if a lot of what happened with the Phillies this year kind of stemmed from them trying too hard. So, I mean, we'll see, but he certainly cared, brought it home in his Hall of Fame speech, and basically said, look, I could have let you guys in. I acted miserable toward you. And some of the best moments from that were when he was showing his true emotions, showing his true self. Everybody talked about the 500 home run and his little celebration dance, and just how that was like the first time we really saw him play up emotion. And then when he ripped the Philly fans up in Montreal, and then came back with the Larry Anderson's wing on when he was warming up, and that was kind of like a turning point, because he knew he was going to get booed. He was like, I deserve to get booed. And I think that's the takeaway. Mike Schmidt did get it. He just didn't let us know he got it until well after the fact, because he said, I would have booed myself too. I deserve to be booed. But instead of coming out in the media and saying that, he ripped it toward Philly fans, but with the wig. They were all set to boo him and ended up giving him a standing ovation, because it was just like, you know what? You are one of us. But like I said, highly, highly recommend it. Obviously, my wife fell asleep halfway through, so I'm excited to watch the second half again with her. But you got to love Mike Schmidt. My all-time favorite player. And to me, watching this documentary only solidified my love for Schmitty. So if you have some time, Eagles don't play till 4 tomorrow. If you don't want to watch the early NFL games, if your fantasy season is over, throw it on. It's definitely worth the watch. All right, be sure to go to Philly Goat. It's too late to guarantee delivery by Christmas. However, it's not too late to just go get some things. I actually picked up my mom. Kudos and shout out to Ryan and his team. My mom was looking for a regular long sleeve tee. The John Kruk is my animal spirit shirt, and Ryan was graciously opened that up and made the long sleeve tee for my mom. So my mom was excited when I told her it came in the mail yesterday, so that you could still get some good stuff at Philly Goat. Give it late Christmas. I believe they have gift cards as well, so still not too late to go to Philly Goat. Just be sure to use that promo code Jim Montgomery for 10% off of your order. And if you are going to give a gift card, let the people know. Use that promo code Jim Montgomery. And then check out my boys at the Clashing Conferences Sports Fan Network. Good NFC East podcast this week. That's available wherever you get your podcasts, as well as on YouTube. All right. And every damn time, like, I joke around all the time about the Sixers being loosey with the football with me. Literally loosey with the football. Like, 100%. Was hyped up all week. I was like, the way the schedule's falling, the way things are coming, guys are going to get healthy. Joe left the game yesterday after getting a forearm across his face with a sinus fracture. No word on how long he's going to be out, if he's going to miss time, if he's going to have to wear a mask. It's just always one thing after another. And I saw somebody on Twitter, and it was funny because everybody talks about how sports are scripted, and they're like, the script writers really got lazy yesterday with this Joe injury. But man, this dude, and they couldn't stop Tyrese Halliburton yesterday, losing 121-107. But every time, like I said, it's a joke, Lucy with the football, but it actually really is Lucy with the football. As soon as I get back on the bandwagon, boom, she moves that football again on me. They are off until Monday, so we have the weekend to see what's going to happen with Joe. But man, it's frustrating, and like the fact that people are ripping Joe. I mean, come on, guys, be better than that. It was a freak injury. This dude has to be the NBA career leader in freak injuries. Like, just ridiculous. So that leads to today's question of the day. Is Joel Embiid injury prone, or is he just unlucky? I mean, last year the knee, it was because of, I think it was Draymond Green jumping on him. He's taken ridiculous random elbows and fractured his orbital bone. Yesterday, he was going up for a rebound. The dude just forearmed him across the face and broke his sinus fracture. Sounds painful, but is he injury prone or just extremely unlucky? 267-495-8531. That'll get you into the Back to the Future voice and text line. Let me know your thoughts on that. I think he's just ridiculously unlucky. Like Friday the 13th, finally feeling good. Boom. But let me know your thoughts. And again, it's just, man, it's irritating. But is he injury prone or unlucky? Let me know your thoughts on that. Flyers look to continue their hot streak in Minnesota today as they get set to take on the Wild. I believe that's a 2 p.m. face-off. Hopefully the Flyers can bring us some joy this winter. All right, some Eagles news. And from an injury standpoint, they're relatively healthy. Everybody will play. They're holding Britt Covey out, which means Cooper DeJean will be returning punts. Steelers have a couple injuries. George Pickens is not going to play. I get the sense with his hamstring that if this was a divisional game, he probably would have played. But since it's an NFC game for them, they have their eyes set on winning the AFC North. So I think that's why he's being held out. They're also without two starters on defense. I will break down the three keys to the game tomorrow. But an interesting thing, and if you remember back when after Sirianni clapped back at the Eagles fans for running the ball and then caught all that stuff for bringing his kids to the press conference and everything, the next week at practice, there was a clip of, they always play music, and he was playing Many Men by 50 Cent, and it was like one of those clips, and the Eagles have gone on a roll since that time. With all the drama this week, I saw some clips from practice yesterday, and Bobby Brown's My Prerogative was playing on the speakers, and there was a clip which I thought was great. Jalen Hurts kind of sitting by himself, getting loose, warming up, or not by himself, but like warming up and whatnot. And the part where everybody's talking all this stuff about me, why don't they just let me live? Tell me why. It was just appropriate. So they certainly probably are trolling the media and the fans, which I kind of like. That's like, it's one of those things. I know people don't like trolls. People are like, oh, you're making such a big deal about this. I saw Tim McManus was like, oh, completely ignore. Like, and it's funny to see some of those media guys get so worked up about this. They're absolutely trolling everybody, and I'm all here for it. Because the last time, like I said, with Many Men, with Nick Sirianni, they came out and played well. They're going to blow the Steelers out tomorrow. I could certainly see them blowing the Steelers out. This team is locked in. I know there's drama and this, that, and the other, but guess what? They know what's happening. They know what's going on. And the fact that they're playing My Prerogative, specifically that part of the song, and you see the video clip of Jalen Hurts. Look it up if you haven't seen it yet. I love it. I absolutely love it. And listen, if that's what this team needs to get motivated, by all means, troll away. But like I said, we'll have more on the game as well as the three keys to the game tomorrow. Sticking with the Eagles today, we're going to go back to 1980. And on this day in 1980, the Eagles beat the Cardinals 17-3 down at the Vet. It was a game where the offense struggled, but the defense stepped up and balled out. They held the St. Louis Cardinals to 126 total yards. and really put the pressure on the Cowboys, who were playing the next night on Monday Night Football in Los Angeles against the Rams. The Eagles needed the Rams to lose to essentially win, or needed the Cowboys to lose to essentially win the division that night on Monday Night Football. They wouldn't officially clinch, but due to the tiebreakers, the Cowboys would have had to beat the Eagles by 26 in the last game of the season to win the NFC East. Cowboys went into that Monday Night Football game as 2-point favorites. Rams blew them out of the Coliseum 38-14. Basically set up a game for the Eagles where all they had to do was not lose by 26 or more points. They ended up losing by 8, won the division, and we all know what happened as they went to the Super Bowl that year. But on this day in 1980, they beat the Cardinals 17-3 at the Vet to put the pressure on the Cowboys, which the Cowboys, Tom Landry and the boys just could not get it done. All right, finally today, our forgotten teams in Philly sports history. Probably one that's very familiar to everyone, and a team that actually still plays in the area. But the Philadelphia Phantoms were the Flyers' AHL affiliate essentially from 1996 to 2009. They were an expansion franchise, and they were the Flyers bought the rights. They remember back in the day they were associated with the Hershey Bears. They ended that, bought the expansion. Comcast bought the expansion rights, named them the Phantoms, and they were in part as a way to help keep the revenue coming in at the Spectrum. Because if you remember, 1996 was when at the time it was the Core State Center opened up, and the Phantoms, to their credit, immediately were successful. They won the regular season title their first 2 years. During their time in Philadelphia, they won those 2 regular season titles, 4 division titles, 2 conference championships, as well as 2 Calder Cups. When the Spectrum finally did close for good, Comcast sold the team. The group that bought them, I think it was a Pittsburgh-based group, took them to Adirondack temporarily as they were building the PPL Center up in Allentown, where they now play since 2014 as the the Lehigh Valley Phantoms. I know that's a big lot of LV people out there. So the Lehigh Valley Phantoms today got their start, though, in Philadelphia. Were very successful as the AHL affiliate for the Flyers from 1996 to 2009, but they are today's forgotten team in Philly sports history because everybody now knows them as the Lehigh Valley Phantoms, but they got their start down in South Philly at the Spectrum. On this day in 1980, the Eagles beat the Cardinals 17-3, putting the pressure on the Cowboys, setting up basically a don't lose by 26 points game in the final game of the season to win that division. They lost by 8, winning the division, and we all know in the rematch what happened when Wilbert Montgomery ran wild on the Cowboys. But in 1980, they won their 12th game of the season, beating the Cardinals 17-3. We'll have more on the Eagles-Steelers tomorrow. Let me know your thoughts on the trolling of the media. I love it. Like I said, if that's what this team needs to get motivated, troll away. Be sure to hit me up on the Back to the Future voice and text line. Is Joe just incredibly unlucky, or is he injury prone? I'm sure there's somewhere probably in the middle, but I think for the most part, this dude just has no luck whatsoever. Between the injuries, between Ben Simmons just being Ben Simmons, it's just I actually sometimes feel bad for Joe because it was looking good, and then just when you think things are going to get better, Lucy takes that football away, and Charlie Brown falls flat on his back. Be sure to watch the Schmidt documentary, though. Like I said, I highly recommend it. You won't be disappointed. Don't forget, last day to make your donations. Let's get the donations in. Let's make this the best holiday season for our friends and neighbors, all benefiting the Maddie N. Dixon Community Cupboard. And do something nice for your neighbor, too. Just a reminder, the reverse advent calendar gift of the day is a taco kit. So let's make it work. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for December 14th, 2024. My name is Jim Montgomery. Go have yourselves a Saturday, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.